Aunt Abby,
Yes, dear.
you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happy Dell?
Yes, dear. Dr. Harper was here today with the papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
Dr. Harper thinks so too. Then there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass on.
He's going to sign them this minute. Teddy's down the cellar. Get him up here right away.
Why, there's no such hurry as that.
No, when Teddy starts working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happy Dell now, tonight.
Oh, no, dear. That's not until after we're gone.
Right away, I tell you, right away.
Why, Mortimer, how could you say such a thing? Why, as long as we live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some shocking news for you. You know how we've all sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless?
Well, he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he's got to go to Happy Dell. Why he's got to be confined.
Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy? Your own brother.
We've got to find out sometime. Might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Of course. But it has nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd peek.
But who is he?
His name's Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's really all I know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know about him? What's he doing here? What happened to him?
He died.
Aunt Martha, men don't just get into window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
Well, how'd the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes. And I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you were doing. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not at tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, you know the whole thing. Just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets.
And don't you tell Elaine. Oh, Abby, while I was out, I dropped in on Mrs. Schultz. She's much better, but she would like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Well, we must do that tomorrow or the next day.
Yes, but this time we will go where we want to go. Junior's not going to drag me to another one of those scary pictures.
City desk? Hello, Al? Do you know who this is? That's right. Say, Al, when I left the office, I told you where I was going, remember? Or did I say? It'll take about a half hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? That's right, I must be here. Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
What are you going to do about what, dear?
There's a body there.
Yes, Mr. Hoskins.
Well, I can't turn you over to the police, but what am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget? My dear Aunt Abby, can't I make you realize that something has to be done?
Now, Mortimer, behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
So, Mr. Hotchkiss,
Hoskins, dear.
whatever his name is, you can't leave him there.
We don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar now digging the lock.
You mean you plan to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Oh, yes, dear. That's what we did with the others.
No, you can't bury Mr. Others?
The other gentleman.
When you say others, you mean others more than one others?
Oh, yes, dear. Let me see. This is 11, isn't it, Abby?
No, dear, this makes 12.
Oh, I think you're wrong, Abby. This is only 11.
No, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen.
Well, I don't think you can count the first one.
Oh, I was counting the first one. So this makes 12.
Hello? Hello? Oh, hello, Al. Mine's good to hear your voice.
Anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
No, Al, I'm sober as a lark. I just called because I'm Pirandello. You wouldn't know, Al. Look, I'm glad you called. Get hold of George right away. He's got to review the play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. Well, George has to cover the plates. My department, I'm running it. You get hold of George. Now let's see. Where were we? 12?
Yes. Abby thinks we ought to count the first one.
All right. Who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist.
Of course, Abby, I don't think we can take full credit for the first one because he just died.
Martha means without any help from us. You see, Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room.
That was right after you moved to New York.
And it didn't seem right for that lovely room to be going to waste when there were so many people who needed it.
He was such a lonely old man.
All his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and unhappy.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came, and he sat dead in that chair looking so peaceful, remember, Martha?
Mm-hmm.
We decided then and there that if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
He dropped dead right in that chair. How awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. Why, it was rather like old times. Your grandfather always used to keep a cadaver or two around the house. You see, Teddy had been digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
That meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama and put him in the lock. So that's why we told you not to worry about it, because we know exactly what's to be done.
And that's how all this started. That man walking here and dropping dead.
Of course, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again, so...
You remember those jars of poison that have been up on the shelf in Grandfather's laboratory all these years?
You know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her pickle, Lily.
Well, dear, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoon of arsenic, then add a half a teaspoon of strychnine, and then just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick to it.
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, "How delicious."
Oh,
Well, I have to get things started in the kitchen.
I wish you could stay for dinner.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.